The golden sun bathed Pacific Pines amusement park in a soft, late summer glow. Laughter echoed through the air, blending with the hum of roller coasters and the chiming tune of the carousel. The smell of popcorn and cotton candy drifted lazily through the breeze as families strolled hand in hand, eager to create one last memory before the school year began. It was a perfect day, unmarred by clouds or worries, until the moment it wasn't. Talia Henderson, in her mid-30s, steered her wheelchair carefully along the cobblestone path leading to the park's accessible guest services entrance. Her skin glistened in the sun, her locks pulled back beneath a lightweight scarf, her hands steady on the wheels. Her pregnancy was entering its 7th month, and doctors had instructed her to avoid prolonged walking due to complications. But nothing would keep her from this outing. It was a promise to her son. Beside her walked Jalen, 8 years old, full of the energetic curiosity only childhood could conjure. His t-shirt, printed with a comic book hero, was slightly wrinkled. In his hand, he clutched a park map he'd already marked with excited circles. Talia had seen how hard the past year had been on him, how he had matured too quickly, how worry shadowed his joy. Today was about reclaiming some of that light. Her husband, Marcus Henderson, was busy across town. As the mayor of the city, he was leading a council meeting on critical housing policy. Talia had insisted she could handle the morning herself. She didn't want to disrupt his schedule, and besides, she'd done this kind of thing before. The park offered an accessible entrance where she could present her medical documentation and pick up a priority pass for guests with mobility needs. The path toward the entrance was shaded and peaceful, a separate route marked discreetly and ending in a booth near a grove of flowering azaleas. Talia reached in her bag, brushing past snacks and wipes to retrieve the neatly organized folder. Inside, a letter from her OB/GYN, medical clearance, official documents confirming her condition. She always carried them, not because she feared problems, but because problems had a way of finding her. "Mom, do you think we'll get to the Sky Twister before the line gets long?" Jalen asked, eyes fixed on the distant shimmer of the high-spinning ride. "We'll try, baby," she smiled. "Let's get our pass first. Then we'll fly." As the booth came into view, so did the man standing beside it. Broad-chested, in his early 50s, he wore a faded uniform and mirrored sunglasses that reflected the sunlight harshly. His badge read, Officer H. Carson. His posture was rigid, arms crossed tightly, face expressionless but somehow accusatory. Talia slowed. "Good morning," she greeted him, voice even. "I'm here to pick up an accessibility pass. I have documentation if needed." Officer Carson didn't move. His head tilted slightly, assessing her as though she'd interrupted a private thought. "You sure you're not just trying to skip the line?" Talia blinked, unsure she'd heard him correctly. "I have a medical condition. I'm 7 months pregnant and not allowed to walk long distances. My doctor cleared me for wheelchair use, and I have everything here." She lifted the folder. He snorted. "You don't look that bad. We get a lot of people pretending, renting chairs, faking it." Her breath caught in her throat. She held Jalen's hand tighter. "I'm not pretending," she said, voice firm. "Please review the documentation." Carson didn't budge. Instead, he tapped the radio on his belt. "Control, this is Carson at Gate B. Possible 10 to 62. Unauthorized use of disability access. Requesting supervisor backup." The words hit like a slap. Talia's body tensed. Her voice dropped to a cold murmur. "You're calling the police on a pregnant woman?" He smirked. "If you're not faking, no reason to worry." People began to slow down. Conversations paused. Phones discreetly turned toward them. Talia could feel the burn of humiliation rise in her throat. "You are escalating something that doesn't need escalation," she said. "You're refusing to even glance at what I brought." "Safety protocol," Carson replied. "You might have forged papers." Jalen looked up at her. "Mom, are we in trouble?" "No, sweetheart," she replied, forcing calm. "We're allowed to be here. Don't be scared." She straightened. "I'll wait for your supervisor. And I want her badge number." "You think that scares me?" he scoffed. "No," she said evenly. "But it should. My husband is Mayor Marcus Henderson. The name cut through the air like a guillotine. For the first time, Carson's shoulders twitched. He blinked. Before either of them could speak again, the radio crackled. Unit en route. Moments later, a squad car pulled up. Officer Logan Reese stepped out. Young, fit, freshly pressed. He adjusted his belt and approached. "What's the situation?" he asked. Carson nodded toward Talia. "Claimed disability access. No obvious signs. Didn't vacate when requested." Reese approached her. "Ma'am, what's going on?" Talia handed him the folder. "I'm 7.5 months pregnant. Under medical orders to stay off my feet. I have documentation." Reese opened the folder, barely scanned it, and closed it. "A lot of people get doctors to sign stuff," he said. "Excuse me." "No offense," he said casually, "but you seem fine to me." Talia's jaw clenched. "I don't need to wear a cast to qualify for accessibility. I need to not be accused of fraud in front of my son." Reese narrowed his eyes. "You're getting defensive. Because you approach with your mind made up," she said. Without warning, he reached for the wheelchair handles and yanked her back. The motion was sudden, jarring. Talia gasped. Jalen cried out. "Stop," she yelled. "I'm pregnant." Gasps erupted from the gathering crowd. "What are you doing?" one voice shouted. "She said she's pregnant." Phones lifted. Video recording started. Reese released the chair, raising his hands. "Ma'am, calm down." "You assaulted me," she hissed. "You grabbed me." Jalen stood silently, his body trembling. Then he stepped back, pulled out the emergency phone his father had given him, and hit the button labeled Dad. "They're hurting, Mom," he whispered. The crowd had grown. Whispers turned to anger. One woman stepped forward. "This is assault." She showed her papers. Then, like a tide parting, a sleek black SUV pulled up. The driver door opened. Marcus Henderson stepped out. Conversation ceased. All eyes turned. "What is going on?" he asked, his voice like a storm held in check. "Because from here, it looks like my wife is being treated like a criminal." Carson stammered. "We didn't know who she was." "That matters why." Marcus snapped. "Shouldn't she be treated with dignity regardless of her name?" Reese opened his mouth, but Marcus cut him off. "She showed her documentation. You refused to read it. You grabbed a pregnant woman's wheelchair. You traumatized my son." He turned to security. "You're both relieved of duty. Effective immediately." Within minutes, park supervisors arrived. Rudd and Carson were escorted off the premises. Cheers broke out. Someone chanted, "Talia! Talia!" Marcus knelt beside his wife. "You okay?" "I will be," she said. Now the people saw. By nightfall, the footage had gone viral. By morning, news outlets ran full coverage. The park issued a public apology and terminated both officers. Marcus demanded changes: civil rights training, new guest services protocols, and an independent oversight board. In a nationally broadcast press conference, he spoke. "Yesterday, my wife came to enjoy the park with our son. Instead, she was profiled, humiliated, and assaulted. Not because she was aggressive, but because she didn't fit someone's expectation of who belonged. If she hadn't been my wife, we might never have known." Talia sat nearby, hand in Jalen's. Her gaze was unwavering. Her story had resonated with the world. Letters of support flooded in. Investigations into the officers expanded. Editorials called it a turning point. This was no longer just a story. It was a reckoning, and the world was watching.